Ohayo, Leroy. Yokoso, yokoso. Genki desu ka, Leroy-san? Ii ne, ii ne. Eh? Coco-san wa nan desho? What happened to Coco? Doshita no? I am out of the loop. Goju Go. What's she playing? Let's check it out. What is she playing? Apex. Good night. That stream isn't ending. That stream is not ending. She's gonna have to give up at like the 12-hour mark. Oh, by the way, my clock area, it's still broken from last night. I put a very temporary fix on that. I think the current time is working, but the uptime is currently still broken. What you see there is a band-aid fix where it's a manual thing. Okay. How's my day so far? Mama desu. Mama desu. はい、始まるよ。今日のトピックは Particles。Joshi。Particles. Okay, so we've covered part of this. So it's gonna be part review. Let's see if I can find it. It hasn't been that long, I don't think. We have some here with ka, yo, ne, ne. A little bit of that. I covered here, more particles. It's very basic. Like I pretty much went as basic as just showing that these exist and they kind of fall under specific roles. So today we're going to be expanding slightly on that, giving examples and such. That is the goal of today. So we'll start with everyone's favorite wa. Wa. This character is the ha character. Ha, hi, hu, he, ho, ha. But when we use it as a particle, it's pronounced wa, wa. This is our topic marker. I think that's too small. Let's use 2 lines. This is our topic marker. So I'll give an example of what a sentence looks like without it, and then how we can insert it into the sentence to make it flow better. To make it flow better, really. Define particle. Need to fresh up on that. It is essentially a character in a sentence that is not part of a word and is not a word on its own either. It functions as something in a sentence. So when I say watashi wa, watashi means I. Wa doesn't have a direct translational meaning towards it. Watashi wa just simply means the topic of the sentence is I. That's all that does for the topic marker in particular. But particle, like another particle we'll cover over is mo. Mo is a particle that means to or also, and it So can I say particles don't hold meaning? No, particles are not copulas. Particles do hold meaning. Particles hold meaning in a different sense than an actual word per se. their function in a sentence is to represent something. So, between sorry, I got a message, but right. Alright, Ainz, thank you for dropping by. Arigatou gozaimasu, Ainz-san. Ganbatte ne. Right. So there are different kind of particles, and we'll see them as we continue. I suppose to not make things too confusing. Because I was thinking, do I cover these now or in a little bit? By that I mean, what classification of particles these particles fall under. So there's some things I think for the sake of simplicity, we won't need to go too deep into it. And it is gonna be one of those things where we're gonna be learning as we use it more often. But just remember that the most basic form of definition I can give for particles is that they're simply not part of words. They're their own separate thing. So let's start with how a sentence looks with and without wa. So these are all grammatically correct. So let's start with our first example of a sentence here. This is without wa. So I'll write here without wa. We have a sentence like Kino kono ji sho o kaimashita. Now, without the kanji, this sentence does sound and look a little ambiguous. But it's pretty straightforward if you're not trying to break it down. Just look at it as a whole sentence, and So you'll first need to understand that jisho is dictionary. Kaimashita is the past tense form of to buy. Good evening. Alright, thank you for joining Gambler Bear. Yokoso, Gambler Bear-san. Yokoso, yokoso. Okay. So, 昨日この辞書を買いました。So, yesterday, this dictionary bought. I bought this dictionary yesterday. This is what this sentence translates to. Is it I bought? It's not I bought. This dictionary was bought yesterday. Yeah. So this dictionary was bought yesterday. So notice how in English, when we say the sentence, what information is there and what information is not there? Well, we know we have the information of the dictionary, and it's this dictionary. So we know because in Japanese they use kono. Is this we use kono when the object of reference is closest to the speaker. So probably the speaker, so me, is holding the dictionary. Kono jisho. Kaimashita. Was bought. In English we use was bought in this particular phrasing. And it's completely omitted, by the way, but the person who bought this is not said, which means we can infer, generally you can infer that the person speaking bought it, but it's entirely possible that the person speaking did not buy it. It was bought by someone else yesterday, but this was never said. So it was never specified who bought it. Now, let's add in the wa particle. With wa. So how does this sentence look and how does it change by adding in a topic marker to specify the topic in the sentence? Well, let's look at it like this. Kono jisho wa kino kaimashita. So, from the get-go, we can see that the order in the sentence has changed, first and foremost. So before we had kino kono jisho o kaimashita, which direct translation technically means yesterday this dictionary was bought. But that doesn't flow as well in English, which is why we say this dictionary was bought yesterday. Although I think this probably works better with this bottom part, by the way. Oh, my lead. Because this is actually what this English sentence translates into, by the way. Kono jisho, this dictionary, was bought yesterday. So, okay, I'm wrong. I'm wrong in my English definition, in my English translation here. I localized it in a way which makes most sense to me, and I happen to have it in a way I didn't mean it to. Yesterday, this dictionary was bought. Okay, so rewording it like this, so the top sentence makes closer relevance to this. yesterday, kino, yesterday, kono jisho, this dictionary, o kaimashita, was bought. So in English, this is a direct translation and probably what you'll understand it as if you go word for word or phrase for phrase. Moving on to with wa, kino kono jisho wa, this dictionary was bought yesterday. This is where it makes more sense, and this is how my brain automatically wires a sentence, by the way. Which is probably why I had it written up there too when it wasn't actually what I was saying. My apologies for that. So, okay. Now the important part here is wa. It turns the part right before it, the phrase right before it, konojisho, into the topic. So the topic of the sentence is, the focal point of the sentence is now this dictionary. We can notice that in the sentence above, what's first is the time of reference. Kino. Kino is first. So yesterday is the first part of the sentence. And that is the focal point. Now, we can also do that with the sentence above, by the way. With this, there's no, in Japanese anyways, there's no topic marker, so there's no specific distinction that tells a person listening, hey, this is the topic. They have to understand that through like just knowing the whole sentence, and they parse that by context. That's how the person listening knows. So you can make the listener's life easier by saying, kino sounds weird, huh? Kino wa kono jisho o kaimashita. So we even have the wa particle here. Kino wa kono jisho o kaimashita. And do notice that, we have a particle here, a second one. We'll cover that in a second. For now, focus on the fact that we have this particle here. In fact, we even had that particle up above. I wrote it here. Oh. We'll learn more about that in a second, but for now, pay more attention to the wa. That's our current focus. So this is, again, more for written than anything else. And for the speaker to understand. Kino wa, so yesterday, and the emphasis is on the yesterday. Like when you say kino wa, you tell the speaker, okay, so yesterday, and the whole focus, the whole sentence and idea behind, or what you're trying to convey, yesterday, the time here plays a larger focus than anything else. Something happened yesterday. So this is an important bit. Kion wa kono jisho, this dictionary was bought. I know it pretty much is identical to the one above. Yesterday this dictionary was bought, and here we have the same thing. Yesterday this dictionary was bought. But the difference is, in Japanese, with the particles, we can turn things into a focus. Konnichiwa, Mimoji-san. Yokoso, yokoso. 今日の授業は辞書です。Particles. We're currently working on wa. So, there's no easy English equivalent to this, but essentially with the wa particle, we're putting it's like an emphasis in the sentence to help help set up a better, easier understanding for the listener. So instead of here saying like yesterday, this dictionary was bought, for example, but in Japanese, 昨日この辞書を買いました. Obviously, it's because it's a simple sentence. It's very easy to parse. It's when you get into more complicated, complex sentences where it starts making a difference. It doesn't make much of a difference. It doesn't, but based on whether or not you use particles, the meaning behind it changes. So here, there's zero focus in the sentence. You just know a dictionary was bought yesterday. The focal point of the sentence does not exist. It's simply conveying the information that yesterday a dictionary was bought. Here, you're emphasizing the fact that this dictionary was you're putting more emphasis and focus on the dictionary itself. The topic becomes the dictionary. This dictionary was bought yesterday. This is how we do that in English. These two sentences technically mean the same thing. It's just what is the focus. Here, we have yesterday as the focus. So the time is the focus point. Whereas here, we have the object, the dictionary, is the focus of the sentence and the message being conveyed. So, この辞書は昨日買いました. Also notice how in this example, we don't have the o, 買いました. And that's because the o is specifically used before a verb, but it also requires it to be after the object that's getting verbed, that the verb is acting on. So you didn't buy yesterday, it was bought yesterday. But the thing being bought was not yesterday. I know in English it sounds weird, but essentially like here we're using kaimashita as to buy. We would use o if the phrase before it was the thing being affected by the verb itself. So down here, and even up there, we have kono jisho, the dictionary, and that is before the verb kaimashita. In this specific scenario, we use o to represent that the verb is affecting the phrase or object or whatever is right before it. So this counts as connecting, and we'll get more into that once we cover o. Ow. And that's the reason why you won't see it here, because yesterday, kino, is not what is being bought. You are not buying time, essentially. You're not buying yesterday. That is not what's being bought. But at the end of the day, what's being this particle is meant for emphasizing the topic, and that is the focal point of the discussion. You're focusing everyone's attention towards that particular spot in the sentence, whether it be the dictionary or the time of reference. It's like if you say 昨日はこの辞書を買いました. A reply to this generally would have to do more with kino, because you focused kino. So they'd be like, oh, cool. Then they might ask you, what else did you do yesterday? Like that. Like the topic. So the conversation becomes more about the topic kino than it does about the dictionary. Whereas この辞書は買いました. And if you say it like that, someone talking to you might be like, oh, how much did the dictionary cost? Because they understand that the focus of the sentence is about the dictionary, and this is saying, hey, I want to talk about the dictionary. If so, that's like, I hope that puts it into better perspective, and hope that makes it make more sense. When you use wa, and it's called a topic marker because that's specifically what it's meant to do. It's supposed to emphasize the topic and what you want to talk about is in front of the particle. Then the emphasis, it's before the particle. Always will be. It always will be. Except for, I think, a handful of particles. But for wa, the emphasis is on whatever phrase is before wa. So hopefully that extended explanation there helps understanding that. Oh. Okay. So yeah, that's kind of what the wa particle is for. It's and therefore this sentence up here where there is no wa, there is no topic marker, when you say kino kono jisho o kaimashita, it's more of a offhanded comment at that point. It's not like there's no topic at hand, and you never established a topic, so this is an icebreaker sentence of sorts. Like, if you want to just say as an offhanded comment, maybe start a conversation, but without any emphasis, so you don't really care which way the conversation goes. You can talk about dictionaries, you can talk about what happened yesterday. This one's far more open-ended, essentially, is what's happening here. Okay. So you'll see this a lot in language, not just Japanese, but English has it, Spanish has it, I think French might have it. I believe German also has this, and those are the only languages I'm most familiar with. Chinese definitely has this too, and that is omitting the subject. Specifically, subjects with the topic marker attached to it. So let's throw some examples down. Someone asks, I'm going to use Q for question. それは and use the kanji here so we know kanji again. Or we continue learning the kanji that we've covered already. 何ですか? Alright, それは何ですか? What is that? When someone asks you the question, what is that? Would you end by that? Because it says それ, not あれ. We know that the object in question is closer to the listener. So the listener answers this by saying これはわ puro desu. So this is some katakana that we don't know yet, but wa puro is word processor. I hope that's large enough to see. Word processor. Wa puro. Word processor. But in English, when someone asks you, "Hey, what is that?" and the object of reference is next to you when asked that, do you say, "Oh, this is a word processor"? Or would you just reply, "A word processor"? Both works. Same thing in Japanese. We can bracket this off, and this can be omitted. Because we understand from both the listener and the speaker's point of view, this is the topic at hand, this is the object of reference. There's no confusion whatsoever. And you both know what's happening. You both know what you're talking about. You both know you're referencing the word processor. It's just one person's asking, what is it? So this object that is a word processor, you understand, you can omit the kore wa. The whole thing. You'll just say, word puro desu. Wapuro desu. Kore wa is unnecessary. Yes, it is unnecessary. It's the same thing in English. You can say it's a word processor. Or just when someone say, "Hey, what's that?" and you can reply, "A word processor." Like, it's very simple, it's very quick, and you simply omitted everything else of the sentence. You just conveyed the important part of the sentence, whatever they were asking for. Okay, so this is something that I'm also learning right now, by the way. So please excuse the fact that a lot of this might be slower than usual, or maybe even incorrect on my end, because I'm definitely learning this, and that's the fact that you can use wa to the other functions of wa. I don't normally use wa often enough in my Japanese, since I use basic Japanese to be doing this. So it's a little choppy for me, and here I'll show you what I mean. So we know about it being a topic marker. Topicalization is what it's called. Topicalization. You turn something into a topic. Simple. Now, has other functions too, like definitiveness, contrast, or scope of negation. So we can show this, and I will show this, because showing is as an example first, and then having people, and you guys can try to practice this on your own time with other examples. I just need to make sure I know what everything is. And by that I mean the words. Okay. So let's say we have this sentence here. Kono za shi wa. Have we covered this kanji? The verb to read? I don't think so. I think we've seen it. I don't think we've covered it. yomimasen deshita. Okay. 名前は right. 私は名前 You would not use wa multiple times in a sentence. No, that is incorrect. Because what you've written, Leroy, is I, watashi wa, namae wa, I, name. And then both of them are currently taking the topic marker. So you just confuse the person because they're thinking, okay, what are you trying to say? Are you trying to say my name? Or, like, in English, that is I name. And I name doesn't make grammatical sense in English either. Okay, keep asking. I'll just continue and I'll get back to you once I see the comment. Kono zashi. Zashi is magazine. Magazine. No, because watashi wa does not mean my. My is possessive. Watashi wa means I. You need to use the possessive particle to change watashi wa, to change watashi from I to my. And the possessive marker is no. Watashi no namae wa. My name. So understand that the phrase becomes my name. Like, that's the phrase, right? If you're talking to someone and you want to say my name and the topic of the sentence is about your name, then you say watashi no namae wa. The topic becomes watashi no namae. The whole thing is the whole phrase there is the topic. My name, watashi no namae. That's how that works. And we'll get into possessive markers in a second here. We're not there just yet. So kono zashi, magazine, this magazine. Wa. So notice how we're using wa, and it says yomimasen deshita. Remember what I said about o? How o tells us what's it connects the relationship between the verb and the object, and what's being verbed, what's getting affected by the verb. Well, here we're using wa instead. Now the reason for this, as I understand it, is that it's to emphasize that it is the magazine that you have not read. So instead of saying kono zashi o yomimasen deshita, watashi wa kono zashi o yomimasen deshita. That it works. And that's normally how I do it too, by the way. And when you say it like that with o, you're simply saying, as an English translation, I didn't read this magazine, or yeah, because in English our negation happens in the beginning of the sentence, not the end. In Japanese, we can use wa, and remember, it's still a topic marker. This is still the topic, except instead of it being the focus of a sentence. So it's a level of emphasis when it replaces the o particle. So it's still functioning as topic marker. It's still doing its job, right? It's still saying, hey, this sentence, the focus is about the magazine. This magazine in particular. So that is the focus, and that is what the wa is doing. It's doing its job. And placing it where it is makes it so that the emphasis is now about how you haven't read it. I haven't read this magazine. Like specifically this magazine. And that's where the focus of the sentence is. And you can see here, it's specifically for negation too. Specifically for negation. It's to show a sign of contrast. And wa does that beautifully. You can say just as easily, この雑誌を読みませんでした. I just didn't read I didn't read this magazine. And there's no emphasis there. Just like how in the earlier example with lacking the wa particle to show that there's no real topic, it's an open-ended, offhanded comment. This here is in a similar vein, using the o particle. It's a simple sentence of you just saying, I just didn't read the magazine. With the wa, however, we're emphasizing that it is this magazine we haven't read. But in a similar vein, in a conversation, you could say, oh, but I've read all these other books. Or, I haven't read this magazine and I refuse to read it. Like, something like that. Really. That's kind of like the attitude of the sentence, of the speaker. In English, we have many different ways of doing that. Like saying, I have, by giving attitude, and it's usually by it's like by the way we say it. It's like the way we say it in English. To emphasize certain words, we put more emphasis on the pronunciation in English. But in Japanese, we can just use the particle. Obviously, by saying it like this, we can also use emphasis when saying it to really hone in about the idea. Okay, so this last bit for wa, for generally speaking, and it's like that because that's what a topic is, right? The topic of a sentence, the topic of a conversation. That is what the whole idea behind it is. And that's why it's called a topic particle. You're creating a topic, a focus point in the sentence. So, let's show something here where wa can replace certain other particles, whereas it can also follow other particles instead. And this is important to show that wa is very flexible as a particle, and the meaning of the sentence generally doesn't change. So the first particle we're going to be looking at is ga. So Nihongo Nihongo ga ga, this is a subject marker. So we know that the subject of the sentence is Nihongo. It's Japanese. The kanji for this we've covered is ski. Ski. And this means to like. Ski desu. I like Japanese. Just know that the subject of a sentence and the topic of the sentence can change or can be different. They don't have to be one and the same. In this case, it is. So we can change this to wa. So we can say just as easily Nihongo wa suki desu. And it pretty much means the same thing. Nihongo ga suki desu. Nihongo wa suki desu. And that's just to show that it's if you see either or, they mean the same thing. There's no real difference here. The subject being Japanese or the topic being Japanese in this case, both follow the same rules and the same and they fill the same roles. There's no real difference here. Not even to highlight anything, by the way. It's not even to highlight anything. They both have the exact same meaning here. So let's move on to our second example, where we've actually seen this above with the magazine example. But here's a separate example. Sono eiga o mimashita. So we haven't actually covered this one yet, but this is me to see miru mimashita. And eiga is movie. Movie. So sono, and remember sono is that that movie I've seen. Mimashita. I've seen that movie. In the same vein, I spelled eiga wrong. Forgive me. Forgive me. My spelling is a little iffy here. In the same vein, the o particle can be exchanged for the wa particle. Sono eiga wa mimashita. So that movie I've seen, and this one is more on an emphasis nature. You're trying to say specifically this movie you've seen before, but in the same vein, o works just as well. It works perfectly fine with o. No problem at all. Just so you know. Just so you know. Okay. Let's use my home country as an example here. For our next one, and we're using the particle ni. Kanada ni mizu. I forget how you spell this. There it is. Mizumi ga oi. Okay. Any practice just replaced? No, actually. We're seeing how wa in particular is able to do so in specific contexts. So we can see that wa can replace ga and o. And in this particular case, we're gonna see wa replace ni. But this is very specific, especially the ni example here. And the biggest point to take away from this is the fact that this exists and it is completely understandable by the Japanese listeners or Japanese speakers. There is a kanji for oi, which means a lot, but I won't cover it now. I'm sure we'll cover it eventually, and I'll definitely start using it sooner rather than later, but not today. You don't need to cover kanji, like so many new kanjis today. So Mizumi. This is the Japanese for lake, by the way, lake. And just remember, when you see examples like the ones I'm showing now, just know that they're not wrong when you see them elsewhere. Like, don't think that, oh, I learned wa is topic marker, it must go in a specific place, and you must have these other particles in these specific spots. Otherwise, it's wrong. No. The big takeaway is the fact that particles like this can work in other locations. Like, we have the default look of the sentence here. Canada ni Mizumi ga oi. There are a lot of lakes in Canada. And there are. there are. We do have a lot of lakes here in Canada. I haven't actually visited many. But we have a lot. So, we can actually replace ni in this sentence. And specifically this sentence. It is because this ni is the function of this ni particle in this sentence is a location marker. It denotes location of the lakes. The lakes are in Canada. We can also say the lakes are in Canada by saying Canada wa. Canada wa. Mizumi ga oi. Oi. So understand what ga does in this sentence as well, by the way. Ga is the subject marker. So now in a sentence we have both wa and ga. We have both the topic and the subject. So the topic of the sentence are in our wa example is Canada. So specifically Canada, and then with ga, our subject of the sentence, not the focus point, mind you, just the subject of the sentence, is Mizumi, lakes. There are a lot of lakes in Canada. With the focus of the sentence being more about Canada here. the different particle usage here is to show that their functions, what they mean in a sentence, especially when you're talking, and here in particular, is able but won't always replace another particle. And a lot of these examples, the one thing they have in common is the fact that whatever you replace particle-wise, the phrase before that particle could be the topic. And the rest of the sentence will still make sense. And that's why we're able to replace it. But that's not the takeaway I want you to take from this, by the way. Not from this lesson anyways. The biggest takeaway and the most important lesson to take from this, from all these examples, is to know that these exists in these specific situations, and that they're not wrong. These are perfectly fine. These sentences are perfectly understandable. That's what I want you to take away from this most. And by you, I mean everyone watching, everyone listening. That's what I want to be taken away most from these examples. It's to show that sometimes you'll see ni, sometimes you'll see wa. Just know that if the sentence is like this specific case, then they just mean the same thing, with certain slight difference in connotations, and specifically with wa, a change in a focus of the sentence itself. Just like how in this one we have, there are lots of lakes in Canada. Here, we have lots of lakes in Canada, yes, but the focus that I want to talk about is Canada. We have no way of emphasizing that in English, by the way. We can supplement that by saying, let's talk about Canada. There's a lot of lakes in Canada. Like, you have to focus the conversation. You just steer it using a subordinate clause or another sentence. In English, we have workarounds. We have ways to focus a conversation towards that, but not the same way the Japanese does. So that's some of the takeaways I want to emphasize here. This isn't the last example, by the way. We have another one, and this one is actually not replacing a particle. It's actually going with a particle. We'll still use Canada. My example here actually has a more local city, but it's not. It won't matter here. We can just say Canada. Canada. So this is a particle, by the way. And it's pronounced not he. Ikimasu. Here it says ikimasen. Oh, yeah, sure. Ikimasen. Remember, this is iku to go. Iku to go. We covered that kanji previously, so hopefully everyone remembers this kanji. Ikimasen. Canada e ikimasen. And the English for this is, I won't go to Canada. Canada e ikimasen. So why and not ni? Well, it has more to do with the particle function in the sentence here. If we go back a little bit, and here we can see what and ni does. Wow. 2, really. It's direction 2. And it looks to be interchangeable based on my notes. There's probably some more nuances here where you choose to use rather than ni. Canada ni ikimasen. Canada e ikimasen. I think that it's just probably two articles that happen to have overlapping meaning. So, in this particular case, either or can be used. Potentially. And so, here, we can actually see the sentence can actually be... Ooh. Wait, is this writing? Ooh. My head. Canada e wa ikimasen. So here, instead of saying Canada wa ikimasen to show a level of emphasis, we actually have it in conjunction with e. Canada e wa ikimasen. So do note that they're both particles here still. These both are still particles. They just happen to come one after the other. Canada e wa ikimasen. And remember, this is not he, this is not ha. This is not Canada he ha ikimasen. That just sounds so wrong. That is just, yeah, that's just not right. Okay. Alright. So, how many particles can I cover over today? It's been a little over an hour at this point. Right. We can use wa to change the order of a phrase in a sentence. We've already seen that actually, but to give another example, we can have question. Itsu kaimono shimasu ka? Itsu kaimono shimasu ka? As I don't see any kanji here, I'm going to be assuming that the sentence is asking when you go shopping, or when do you shop. Itsu, when? At what time? Kaimono, shop, shopping, to shop. It's not verb. The verb is shimasu. Kaimono shimasu. Kaimono. Kau is to buy. Kaimono is shopping. Yeah, shopping. The activity. Itsu kaimono shimasu ka? When do you go shopping? This is one way to ask this question. There's another way to ask this question. When the focus you want to be about the shopping, you can say kaimono wa itsu shimasu ka? So the sentence changes a little bit here. And that's because you've added the You've added the topic marker here. So it's no longer itsu kaimono wa shimasu ka? No. But instead, you shift that to the beginning of the sentence here and say kaimono wa itsu shimasu ka? And that's because the shopping bit is now the focus of the sentence. Shopping, when do you do it? When do you go? When do you do it? In English, obviously we don't have any good direct translation without it sounding awkward for us English speakers. But essentially, this is why we have the topic markers in Japanese, is to have a actual focus in the sentence. Okay. Okay, so this next and last example for wa is more for, again, to exemplify negation. So take this sentence someone says as an example. Te re bi o mimasu ga, and this ga here is not a subject marker, by the way. This is actually the equivalent to the English word but. So I like doing this, but I don't like doing that. So that's like the English equivalent here. Ga eiga o mi ma okay, you know what? Yes. It's too messy to do that. Mimasen. I'll just do it in the next line. I have space to work with here. So I watch TV, but I don't watch movies, is what this sentence is saying. To show an emphasis on the negation here, instead of saying o, and instead of using the o particle to show to do mimas and mimasen, we can actually say tele. Oh my god. Ooh, that's dangerously horrid print. Terebi wa mimasu ga. So remember, the ga is still here, because this is working as a conjunction. It is a particle acting as the English equivalent of but. Eiga wa mimasen. I watch TV. So, eiga wa mimasu ga. I watch television, but, and the topic is television. So the focus of this section of the sentence this clause here is what we call that in English, by the way. The clause is the TV, the television. Eiga wa mimasen. And this is our second clause. This is the second half of the sentence. Internet decided to yeet while my brain was buffering. Rip. Hopefully, if you want to actually like know what I said, because I don't know where you got dropped. Do watch the VOD. Some of this stuff is somewhat important, but not the most, because the biggest takeaway I want to repeat myself is that I want you to know that these exists in these ways, and that they're not wrong. So you can see these when you're reading text or literature, or when someone asks you this. Specifically when you're having a conversation, right? Someone says, "Terebi wa mimasen ga eiga wa mimasu," or "Terebi wa mimasu ga eiga wa mimasen." I just want you to know that in an example like this, they're emphasizing the contrast and negation. So they're saying, "Oh yeah, I watch television, but I don't watch movies." Like, there's super specific meaning behind it. The emphasis and the meaning that they're trying to convey is based on the particles here. Obviously, I want to say this obviously because sometimes it's not obvious, so I want to stress the word obvious here. You can easily say "terebi o mimasu ga eiga o mimasen," and with that level of emphasis too, it means the same thing. But without the topic marker wa, the contrast is lower. The level of negation is not there. Certain genre of something. I don't remember saying that. I don't remember saying that at all. Unfortunately. Apologies for that. I don't even know how I can backtrack to that. If you do figure out where you got cut off, and I know where you got cut off, I'll go back to it. But for now, I'm gonna move on. This is the end of the wa particle from my notes. So I'm gonna move on to the next particle, which is mo. Mo. And yeah, wa and mo are the two longest sections in my notes here. We have more, but they're shorter. So I'm hoping to cover at the very least all these particles I have. And all right, cool. Again, any questions? Ask away. 質問があるならば、問い合わせてください。Please ask. Okay, so our next particle here, mo, which means to or also. And this is what the meaning holds. Instead of like a sentence specific meaning like wa, which is to turn something into a topic, mo is our way of saying as well, also to. And the first things first is that you can just know that mo takes the particle spot of ga, o, and sometimes ni. So you can say watashi mo ikimasu. Watashi mo ikimasu. I also go. you can say, put it down here. Hon mo kaimasu. I'll also buy the book. So like earlier, let's say jisho kaimasu. Kono hon mo kaimasu. I bought that dictionary. I'll buy this dictionary, and I'll also buy this book, for example, or the book. So mo always so in my notes here, I'll read it out, and it says here, mo always follows the element to which the meaning to or also is attached. Meaning, mo goes along with whatever you're saying to or also is referring towards. So let's show you a sentence that you can see this more clearly, and I can explain the difference in how mo is being used and what's being emphasized with to or also. To or also. Tomodachi wa kyou mo kimasu. My friends are coming today as well. Kimasu. Kimasu is this kanji, I believe. Kimasu. Yeah, my friends are coming today as well. So the mo is referring to the kyo, to the today. Today. Kyo. So today as well, my friends are coming, is a way in English where we can reword it to try to understand it easier. Now, if we want to separate the focus, we can actually, to say something entirely different, but written out and said very closely to how this is, you can say, Tomodachi mo kyou kimasu. My friends are also coming today. So as well is our friends. So in this sentence in particular, our emphasis becomes with the friends here. Tomodachi mo kyou kimasu. My friends as well are coming today. So there's a difference. On the first example, Tomodachi wa kyou mo kimasu. My friends are coming today as well. That emphasizes the fact that your friends probably have gone with you to wherever you're going previously, and they're also coming today. But in the second sentence, you're saying that today my friends are also coming. So perhaps your friends, or perhaps your going on an adventure with someone and you didn't tell them until now that your friends are also coming, for example. So, in the second sentence, it's more like emphasizing that the friends are also coming, and so thereby implying that that wasn't planned beforehand between you and the speaker. Like, yeah, my friends are also coming. Or like when someone else asks you, anyone else coming? And you're like, yeah, my friends are also coming today. Then, yeah, so something like that is where the emphasis lies with mo, and that's kind of how you want to see it for this in particular. And now we can go into some negation and to show how mo can be used with negatives. Watashi mo wakarimasen. This is wa, this is watashi. Watashi mo wakarimasen. I also don't understand. Wakari mo wakarimasen. So this mo is used in negation. Watashi wa wakarimasen desu. I don't understand. Watashi mo wakarimasen. I also don't understand. So you can see the difference there in English. Another example we can have is kore mo. Oops. Kore mo oishiku. And this is the ku form of oishi. Oishiku arimasen. And remember, it's used specifically when you're using the negation here with arimasen. Kore mo. This as well is not delicious. Oishiku arimasen. Not delicious. This also is not delicious. That's what the sentence means, and that's how you can use mo for negation here. The next one is to use as a conjunction word. And unlike English, where a conjunction is simply and between two objects or two things, and that's it. In Japanese, we actually use it a couple times to indicate this, and that's because it's a particle that goes after whatever you're trying to say. So this is negative, so let's mark that down, and so that we can separate it. So this is for and, so to speak. Ten nisu mo golfu mo shimasu. So tennis, this is tennis, and golf, mo shimasu. So this means I do both tennis and golf. In English, you can hear me say tennis and golf. But in Japanese, we use mo after both. So mo isn't, it's used as a conjunction of like the English and, but there's a little bit of difference here, just a little bit. And the biggest thing is that you need it after each listed phrase. I'll say it like that. So tennis, golf. It's not a simple and that you can put between the two. It's something that goes after each. So you can continue this list. Tennis mo, golf mo, basketball mo, soccer mo. And the list can just keep going on and on and on and on and on. And you need mo every single time. Let's go to another example. Oh, my notebook's actually almost gone here. That's actually really surprising. Okay. Good thing I have a lot of paper. Alright. So, let us look at the next example here, which is... Okay, I'm on camera. Nihongo mo Furansu go. And yes, this is in katakana, by the way, for the language itself. Go mo. Read it. That is not a character in Japanese. Ha na shimasu. Nihongo mo Fransugo mo wa no, not wa mo Fransugo mo hanashimasu. Japanese and French speak. I can speak it. So I speak Japanese and French. Very interesting combination. But yeah, that is what this example is saying. So it's just a showcase again. You need mo. After each listed phrase, you need the mo. Okay. Alright, let's show you how to list this in the negatives. So we know the not. I also don't understand. This is also not delicious. Now we're gonna see a different set of negations. Neither nor. In English, we really don't use nor often. We actually use or very often. In its place, it's grammatically incorrect, I believe, to use or when talking about negation, but we do it anyways. I rarely see people use nor. I don't really use nor much either, but it is grammatically correct to do so when it comes to negatives. So the example here is Jisho. Thank you, Emigo Ohara, for the subscription. Thank you so much. Welcome, yokoso. Welcome to the Wildcats. Yokoso. I need new lead, by the way. My lead pencil broke to the point where I need more lead. Okay. Negation. Oh my goodness, my nor. Jisho. Jisho mo. Hon. Mo. Kaimasen deshita. Super sloppy writing, I apologize for that. I hope when I say it out loud, everyone's able to read it, or at least rewrite it out in their own print to read Jisho mo hon mo kaimasen deshita. I did not buy, so masen, kaimasen. I did not buy the dictionary nor the book. Didn't buy either. That's what this means. And we use mo as a way to list it out. Remember, with the listing of the words here, you always need it after each phrase or object. I say phrase because everything, objects can be a phrase. So, jisho, dictionary. Mo, hon, book. Mo, kaimasen deshita. Remember, you need the mo for both. And it's more of like a list situation than anything else. Here's another one. Kyou mo ashita mo benkyou shimasen. Please don't do this, by the way. Today and tomorrow, I will not study. Please, if you're in this class, study, please. That's all I can ask. Don't not study, especially when you're here, right? I mean, listening in is perfectly fine. If you're listening in, you're already studying, so yeah, you're fine. You're fine. Okay. And this is mo. I know it's relatively short compared to wa, but it's about half as long in terms of like overall material you cover. It's ultimately used as the also, as well, to, and or particle to represent that. But in another sense as well, when you're trying to say and, or to list things. Think of it like listing things when you're using it as conjunction and. Tennis mo, golf mo shimasu. It's not like English and, where simply and between the objects and you're good to go. It's like a list where you have to add it after each phrase. So just remember that, and you should be fine. Okay. So this next one is everyone's favorite subject marker. Ga. Ga. Ga is used for an indefinite subject. I don't like using these jargons because I know a lot of people who watch aren't well versed in it. They don't know what indefinite and definite are. So the definite subject I don't people know what the definite and indefinite articles are. But do people know what the indefinite and definite subject are? Right, well, just know that this is the subject marker. The subject. marker. Okay. So let's show a few examples. This is very short because there's not much to talk about. Since ga is used specifically to mark subject in a sentence. So we can say, もうすぐ冬が来ますね. Okay, so taking this as an example sentence here. もうすぐ冬が来ますね. Very soon, もうすぐ, very soon. Winter is coming. Winter is coming really soon. Yes, this is the Game of Thrones meme, by the way. Winter is coming. 冬が来ます. 来ますね. Winter's coming very soon, isn't it? Like the ne here is like kind of like an isn't it kind of deal. Winter is coming soon, yada yada yada. So the ga particle here is saying that the subject of the sentence here is winter, which it is. Probably should do that. This bit here, winter. Winter. So it just points out in the sentence what the subject is. There's really nothing much to expand on, at least in my opinion. Forgive me if other linguists out there have a thousand things to say about this, but I personally do not have much to say besides that this is just a subject marker. It marks what the subject of the sentence is, which in a paragraph, a conversation, it holds much more significance, but as a standalone sentence, it literally doesn't do anything else. I shigoto ga arimasen. Arimasen. Ga I shigoto. I shigoto. So shigoto, for those who don't know, it means jobs. So I shigoto in this context means good work. So this is actually where we can see a distinction in the sentence here. I shigoto, good work, or good jobs, specifically here. I shigoto ga arimasen. There are no good jobs available at the moment. Or good work. So when you're looking for a job, this is what that means. It's like, it doesn't mean like in English when we say good work out there, or like nice, you did a good job. That's not what this means. I shigoto. When you say in English, you want to say good job, you say yoku yatta, yoku yatta, yoku yatta, or iizo. But yeah, it is not I shigoto. Shigoto specifically means job, like a work. You go out and earn a salary type of job. That's what this is. I shigoto ga arimasen. There is no good work. Okay. What phrase is this? Kaku? Is this kaku? Is this to write? Sure, there's more kanji. Okay. 誰が書きましたか? So this is a question, because we know by the ending particle here, ka, this at the end of the sentence is the equivalent to a question mark. It's a question particle. So instead of saying question mark, like we have in English, we just say ka at the end, with the rising intonation. Kaku is the verb to write. Ga is the subject marker here. Dare ga. Who wrote this is what this is saying. Who wrote this? Dare ga kakimashita ka? So it could be like a teacher looking at the chalkboard and they're asking the students, "Hey, who wrote this? Dare ga kakimashita ka?" Something like that. Okay. Okay. Here it says, which I understand more, by the way, ga is used when the subject is introduced as new information. So, when asked a question, dore ga oishii desu ka? Remember, this is the question mark particle. Dore ga oishii desu ka? Which one of these tastes good? Which one of these is delicious? An answer you could have would be "Sore ga oishii desu." Notice, all we're missing. How the way we answer this is we take from the question and reply it exactly, almost identical. There's not much to change. Which? That one. So, when you say sore, it's most, again, person speaking, sore is used when the object of reference is closer to the listener, in which case the person asking the question here, rather than the person saying it. So it's actually farther away from the speaker. Sore ga? Ga? Because this is new information. This right here is new information. Gambler bear. Wa and ga requires some time and practice to distinguish their differences. They do. They really do. And that's because inherently in English, when we speak, we don't separate subject and topic consciously. We separate them unconsciously. It's second nature to us English speakers. Anyone who doesn't study linguistics will have a tough time differentiating between topic and subject. I have a tough time separating the two, and I study linguistics. So, I understand the difference, however, because I study it. That's the next step. Oishii desu. So, you can see this right here. I'll do a dotted line just to represent this. Oishii, oishii. Delicious. Same thing, same deal. Exact same deal. Oishii desu. And this is just without the question. So, just to go to show how simple of a way to answer a question is. どれが美味しいですか? それが美味しいです. That. And we use ga, not wa, because this is new information. The subject of the sentence, what we're referencing, what is delicious, that is delicious, that. This is new information. We use ga in this case. Another example. Huh? Who, so dare, dare ga ikimasu ka? Who's coming? Who is coming? Question particle. Ga. In this case, we can do Tsubasa san ga ikimasu, right? No, ikimasu. So keep the verb. Ikimasu. Notice this. Notice how we still have the ga here. That doesn't change. The name, the person, is new information. I'm coming. Alright. Now I want to split this because we've actually looked at this earlier when looking at the particles. Or the earlier particle. But this ga, the but version, this is when connecting two clauses, and it's equivalent. This is really very much so equivalent to the English but. Probably have this one number lower. Daigaku e ikimashita ga benkyou wa shimasen deshita. I'm guilty of this. I'm not gonna lie, I'm guilty of this, which is why I'm putting so much emphasis into learning now. It's better late than never, I must say, and what better way to learn than with people? While you see me as an avatar. So, daigaku, remember this means university. E ikimashita ga benkyou wa shimasen deshita. So what did I do during all those years of uni? Well, I learned poorly, is how I'll put it. I studied, but not in a very efficient manner. So university is daigaku, or college for those in America. E ikimashita ga, I went to university, but benkyou shimasen deshita. I didn't study. Don't do that. Please don't do that. Please study. Please. For anyone out there who's going to university, please spend your time studying. It doesn't matter how. Find some friends. I know this might be the hard part. Find a group of people that you feel like you can ask I'm sure there's others who will be willing to talk with you, and they're also looking for someone to talk with. Look for them. Ask and offer to form study groups. You can bounce ideas off of each other. That is the best advice I can give based on my performance in the past year. Just look for someone to study with. Someone new even, or someone that you can say to yourself, hey, you want to try studying? And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. There's no harm, no foul. Alright, next sentence we have here to show this example. 日本語日本語はThat's me. I'm not looking for me. Looking for moo. Wait, how do you use spell moo? Right, of course. Muzukashi ga Omoshiroi desu. So notice, Nihongo wa, we have our topic marker. Japanese is difficult, muzukashi. But, it's interesting. Omoshiroi, interesting. Japanese is hard, but it's interesting. So notice we have our topic marker here. It's back. It's returned. Nihongo wa muzukashi ga. However, but. Omoshiroi desu. Okay, so this one is also something that we have something similar to in English. It's not actually but. This is to fill up space between two sentences to make it flow better. So to give an example here, we can say Watashi wa biru o nomimasu ga anata wa. Right, so this is interesting. And I say it's interesting because we actually have, it's technically two sentences here, technically speaking. Watashi wa, so topic, I. So we're specifically talking about me, I. Biru o nomimasu ga. Anata wa. Ga here isn't saying but or however. It's not saying that at all. We do have in English, in a very similar fashion, we could say, I drink beer. How about you? Or I drink beer. But how about you? We see how I have the but there in English, but at the same time, it's not a negation. I'm not negating what I said about drinking beer and saying but or anything like that. Or it's not a negation. Obviously not. It's not, what am I trying to say? It's not the opposite. It's not the opposite. It's like how when I say a positive thing, I like I like the taste of peanut butter, but I don't like its texture, for example. As an example sentence, you can see I have a positive and a negative, we add the word but there. In the same vein, however, in this sentence, I drink beer, But how about you? I'm not saying how about you does not have a negative connotation to what I said about drinking beer at all. We just use it as a way to connect the two sentences here. It's the same thing in Japanese. Cookie. Cookie. Ga. Arimasu. Ga. Tabe. Masen. Ka? So this whole sentence here. Cookie, by the way, means cookie. It's a cookie. You know, chocolate chip cookie, oatmeal raisin cookie. Cookie ga arimasu ga tabemasen ka. So, what's where and what means what? Cookie ga. So the cookie is the subject. Arimasu. There is a cookie. However, ga tabemasen ka. Ka. Again, question. This is a question. There's a cookie. Won't you eat it? Are you not gonna eat it? Are you not gonna eat the cookie? There's a cookie. Are you not gonna eat the cookie? That's all this sentence is saying. Cookie ga cookie ga arimasu ga tabemasen ka? I need to practice my breaks and elongated consonants, but that is the idea here. Okay. Let's see. Right, so now that we know about subject and the marker which have a secondary function to it, let us move on to the object marker, everyone's favorite o. And I said it before, but the o goes before the verb. And that's because the object is getting verbed. So there is actually nothing to say about this besides showing you a direct difference in how a sentence changes between an object and a subject between Japanese and the English translation. So we have transitive verbs. Transitive verbs. And these are the person does something. So we can say ドアを開けました。を開ける。It's 開ける, right? 開ける to open. 開けました。Opened. And when you say ドアを開けました, this is technically speaking you've omitted the subject. The subject is implied. 私は I ドアを開けました。I opened the door. This part over here has been omitted. That's omitted. And we saw that earlier. Now, let's go to intransitive verbs. It's funny, open is both transitive and intransitive based on how it is used. So, in the same vein, door ga akemashita. Ga. It's no longer o. It's ga. Door ga akemashita. This is I opened the door. This is the door opened. So these are just jargons, by the way. No need to actually understand what they mean if you don't already. That is not the point. The point is understand that when you use o, it's subject or topic, in this case both, sometimes did something to the object. And intransitive is something happened to the object. The door opened. You could say that I opened the door or the door opened. When you say the door opened, it simply opened. In English, the implied message is that it opened on its own. There's no specification saying the door was opened by someone or anything like that. The door simply opened. Dora ga akemashita. This is intransitive. Transitive uses the o for the object marker. That's really all there is to o. And that's kind of why it is where it is. It is placed exactly where it is. And that's because it comes before verbs, and it's to mark the object and what happens to the object. That's all this is. Nice. Good, good, good. Hopefully that makes a lot of sense to people, or at least some sense. If it at least makes a little bit of sense, I count that as a win. Okay, our next particle is the noun counting particle. To. To. And. Noun phrases only. This is important. To in Japanese does not work This does not work at all for connecting verbs. It's too small. Verbs, adjectives, I'm trying to decipher if this is subject or subjunctive. I think subject, actually. And that kind of makes sense, right? Because we covered over mo earlier, and mo covered subjects. So this is specifically for noun phrases only. So what does that mean? Let's show some examples to show how this works, and then we'll actually show some examples of how this doesn't work. And once you read it out loud, you'd be like, oh yeah, of course it doesn't work. Hopefully. Alright, first example is mofu to makura. Mofu to makura are two nouns here. Is blanket, mofu, and then makura, pillow. And this is just a phrase, a blanket and a pillow. So, a blanket and a pillow. That's it. It's just a list of things. It's just it's not like it's a full-on sentence or anything like that. Just to showcase how we use to. All right, how do we not use to? And I'm sure a lot of teachers will show you that if it's to indicate something incorrect, we put a star next to it. So let's do that. If we say gohan, oh, did I write that right? I did not. Okay, this is to eat, taberu, and here we have tabemasu to. Kohi o nomimasu. I eat a meal. I eat. Gohan is breakfast, I'm gonna say? Or is it just a meal? I eat rice, but I think it's just your breakfast? Or is it lunch? Ohiru gohan. Ohiru gohan is lunch. Gohan is just your meal. So I eat my meal and I drink coffee. You do not say this. Look how awkward this sounds. Gohan o tabemasu to kohi o nomimasu. No. No, that's just wrong. You don't say that. Okay. How would you say this, though? I would like to show how you would say this. Let's see. I will say that in like a conversation, I'm sure the other person listening would understand that you ate rice and you drank coffee. But to say I ate you had your meal and you drink coffee is more along the lines of gohan o tabete kohi o nomimashita. You're using the te form of the verb, and then there's just nothing in between. That's one way of doing it. You definitely don't want to use to. It's not needed, and it's a bit cluttery, among other reasons, but those are the big ones I can think of off the top of my head. Gohan o tabete kohi o nomimashita. Or nomimasu. Yeah, there's no to. And again, the reason for this is because to doesn't work as and in conjunction with verbs. It's specifically for listing objects between each other. And to actually works very much like the English and when it comes to listing, where you only need it between things. So, it's like when you list, I don't know, grocery list, for example. In English, we say, oh, we need eggs, and we need carrots, and potatoes, and mushrooms, and lettuce, and spinach. You can hear and over and over and over and over again. Same thing with Japanese to. I'll give one more example of how not to write this out. First, like this. Omoshiroi to tanoshii desu. So, omoshiroi to is usually used between nouns, right? A simple way to combine sentences would be soshite. That's more of an and then. Soshite is and then. I mean, you're not wrong. It's just soshite is not really like your general. It's not just an and. It's specifically and then. Soshite and then. That's where the story. Like that's how you connect it with. We'll learn te forms of verbs later. But for use as an example, in the food, gohan o tabemashita, soshite kohi o nomimashita, because we're in past tense here. So to use your as an example, to make sure that we're on the same page here. What you get when you say it like that is, I ate my food, I ate rice, and then I drank coffee. So it's not really like I had food and I had coffee as a meal. It's when you say soshite, there's a time difference there. You're saying I ate my food, my rice, I ate my meal, and then afterwards I had a coffee, like that. So it's like, if you had food and then you went out and grabbed a coffee and then you had that. So that's where the soshite comes in. What we're seeing here is we're going to learn and eventually use the te form of a verb, which is how we use to connect two different ideas together. I'm sure there's other ways as well, but we'll get there, not now but eventually. So omoshiroi, as we saw earlier, means interesting. Like in our previous sentence, Japanese is difficult but interesting, where we learned the but. Here, interesting and tanoshi is fun. So to say it is interesting and fun, it is once again te form, and we'll learn te form in a bit. Not today though. Te form is not a particle. It is as we call it te form. It's because it's a form of the word. So Roy becomes Shiro I, not Roy, it's I. I becomes kute. Kute. So te form. So to correctly say this, write this out, you would say omoshiroku de tanoshii desu. So the second bit here, tanoshi, does not change whatsoever. It doesn't have to change. It's simply tanoshi. What does need to change is the beginning bit here, our first word, omoshiroi, interesting. Yuriyan Kawa-san. Yokoso. Yokoso. We're currently learning particles today, Joshi, and we're currently working on to. There's not many particles left, and so class will be ending soon. I wanted this to be a 2-hour lesson. It's been over 2 hours by 23 minutes already, so yeah. It is what it is. We'll go over. It is a stream, it is not a classroom. It's okay. So yeah, to say this properly with our adjectives here, interesting and fun. Bye bye. Omoshirokute. So omoshiro, because remember this word interesting, omoshiroi, it is 2 kanji and then i. It's an e adjective. So to write out to make it seem like why is ro still there? Because you might think, oh, it doesn't omoshi or something like that make more sense or whatever. It's because omoshiro is shiro. Omoshiro. And this is the shiro of white, by the way. Like shiroi, white. Omoshiroi. Omoshiroi is interesting. It's a bit of a combo between white and actually, what is this kanji? By itself, it means surface. Well, that's ironic. So yeah, that's how we do it for that. Okay. Moving on. Tsugi. We have to show when you list something. To is not omitted even when more than 3 items were listed, except for the last one. Okay, so we'll have a list of devices here. Digikame. Digital camera is what this is. Digital camera. 토. 아이팟도 아이팟 토 랩프 톱 랩톱 오 카이마스. So I bought a digital camera, an iPod, and a laptop. All three. So that's what this means. So as you can see, we have to. They're still there. In English, we can list things out using commas. But in Japanese, when you're saying out loud, you have the to there. It's like instead of English where you can say eggs, flowers, wheat, barley, juice, and you're just listing words after words after words after words, people understand you're listing things. In Japanese, we need the to there between each listed item. So the to, kore to, are to. So this is, I want to say, so that people understand, there's two types of forms of lists. I'm sure once I explain it, you'll understand as well. The first time a list is this kind of list here, where this is an exhaustive list, which means this is it. You've listed everything. This is when you've listed everything you need to list for your point. Exhaustive list. We use to. So when you have everything there in the list, you use to. But when you don't have everything in the list, you say, I have this, that, and etc, etc. When you start saying etc, etc, it means there's more to the list, but you haven't listed it all out. When we have that, we actually use a different particle to list things. Ya. So, as an example, we're not excited on this whatsoever. I just need to show you that there is a difference and that you do not use to when listing non-exhaustive sentences. Shinbun. That's a newspaper, right? Sorry, I need to make sure I'm using the right words here. Yeah, newspaper. Shinbun ya za shi o yomimasu. Okay, so in Japanese, what you've said here is I read newspaper and magazines. However, because you used ya instead of to, what this means is that I read newspapers and magazines and a bunch of other things, but I'm only going to list these two right now. Like I also read light novels, I also read manga, I also read short stories, etc, etc. Using ya here means that you have other things that you've also verbed. So in this case, read, yomimasu, but you haven't listed them. You only listed a couple things. That's what this means. So just remember that when you're listing things, if you know that it's exhaustive, like, oh yeah, I bought these 3 items and that's all I bought. I only bought digital camera and iPod and a laptop. Then yeah, you use to. Those are what I bought, and that's it. I didn't buy anything else. You said digicam ya, iPod ya, laptop o kaimasu. It means you've bought other things on top of those that you haven't listed out. Ow. And that's it. That's it for our particles for today. So hope everyone now has a better understanding, just a little bit at the very least, of wa, our topic marker, mo, to indicate to or also, ga, the subject marker, o, our object marker, and to, our and. Specifically for noun phrases. The one troubling thing is that there's no actual way for me to actually force anyone to study, so that means whoever's here to listen can only pick up so much. Hopefully, at the very least, you're able to follow along. I should probably update all my titles on my videos or my streams so that people know what each stream is about. I should probably classify them to that way. Makes it a lot easier for review later. Hi. どういたしまして。どういたしまして Gambit Bear. それと、来てくれてありがとうございます。And that means thank you for coming. 来てくれてありがとうございます、皆さん. That is it for today. It's a little bit longer, 2.5 hours, but I really need to go over particles. Today was that day. And yeah, hopefully people can get their own way of studying. I know I'm going through a lot of different materials, and even then, I'm only picking up so much. So definitely pace yourself, use it every day if you can. Have fun with it. If you don't have fun with it, take a break. The mentality is definitely required. So yeah, thank you everyone for coming. Arigatou gozaimasu, minasan. And I'll see you tomorrow for tomorrow's tutorial, and also tonight for what is tonight? Tonight is Dark Souls 3. We're going through the catacombs again. So yeah, I'll see everyone then tonight. Until then, bye bye. Oh, can't see me. Bye bye.